there folks, Mike here. So it's Remembrance Day 2020, and despite the fact that it's mid-November, it's about 15 degrees Celsius and I'm not wearing a winter coat. So I have a few days off. I'm gonna go for a hike. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you might recognize this corner. Behind me is the trailhead for the Elgin hiking trail, which leads from the north side of the 401 highway outside of London, St. Thomas. It goes through St. Thomas and ends up in Port Stanley on the lake. However, at the same place that I'm at, it's also the trailhead, the southern terminus for the Thames Valley Trail. So this one that I'm about to do over the next couple days, 3 days hopefully, is it does a lot of road walking to Delaware, and then once in Delaware it actually picks up the Thames River and follows the river essentially right through the city of London to the north end of the city, around the north bank of Fanshawe Lake and through the conservation area, and then continues eastward to St. Mary's, and then that's where the Avon Trail picks up and goes to Conestogo. So without any further ado, I'll see you on the trail. So if you're doing the Thames Valley Trail, starting at the southern terminus on South Dell Road, you basically walk down South Dell, turn up Carriage, and as you may have seen just before this video, you go through the edge of a cornfield, and at the corner of the cornfield you pick up the trail here, and you basically backtrack parallel to South Dell. So if I pan off to the right here, basically right around there is where I parked my car, and I've basically recovered that distance of sorts, or doubled it depending on how you want to look at it. And I'd say I'm less than an hour into the trail and walking amongst fallen leaves from the change of season, and a little bit more protected from the wind. It's when I got out of the car, it was pretty windy and just had a slight chill for a t-shirt and a compression shirt, so switched to a long-sleeved lightweight hoodie, and yeah, coming along nicely. So still got quite a ways to go until I hit Delaware, of course, as I just started, and we'll check in with you guys later. Alright folks, so finally got onto some what I would call proper trail, and just had a nice little chat with a couple doing a 4-kilometer loop, or so they think, in their words.
But finally got to the river, as you can see here. A little bit of a flow. And here I didn't think I would need my trekking poles, but well, so far so good anyways. And coming up on bridge number 2. This one with a much nicer view. This is much more like it. I saw a couple of deer. There it is. Right there. Running off. So I had made the comment to a few people that in my hiking of the Bruce Trail, I've come across 2 sets of deer on the Niagara Peninsula, and I think a couple of rabbits outside of Mount Nemo, and one more rabbit just outside of Wyerton, and that was basically it in terms of wildlife. You know, I see more wildlife. Sorry folks, I'm just taking my time going down a bit of a muddy embankment here. But yeah, so I've seen foxes and raccoons, even a coyote in my neighborhood as I do my walks, but almost nothing at all on the trail. And here we are, just short ways outside of Delaware and London, and not sure if they were the same deer, but I saw 3 of them today long, so it's quite interesting how you sometimes expect to see wildlife and you don't, and other times you go about your day and all of a sudden, oh look, there's a fox. So, and of course for you guys that are more live in the rural areas, that might not be such a big deal, but I've lived in a city all my life, so seeing rabbits and cute little almost cute little critters is a big deal. So anyways, I'm going to twist my back into place now, and we'll check in a little bit later. Really, really pretty in here. I may have missed all the fall colors, but the smell of fall is still very much in the air. And of course, the rustling of, oh, somebody was hard at work. Rustling of leaves was always a nice sound. So, as much as my running shoes did me quite well on the road, they're not exactly providing a lot of traction, as it did rain last night. things are a little muddy in places. And one thing the leaves are doing a great job of hiding is the mud underneath. So even though I found some evidence of beavers, don't think this is their doing. Yeah, it looks a little human-made. Hey folks, so as you can see, starting to run out of daylight. It's about a little after 3:30 or so in the afternoon. And remember, this is November in southwestern Ontario, so for those of you that are maybe south of the border, or depending on where you are in the world, this time of year it starts getting dark at 4:30 or so. So well, hopefully I can get into the town or village of Delaware and pick up an Uber or a local taxi to take me back to the car. So that's going to be my aim today. I did start quite a bit later than I had planned, but as it sits, I'm about 21 kilometers into the day, so I was hoping to do maybe 30 plus kilometers a day. So if I can get to a good start tomorrow and take a couple breaks, I can go a little bit easier on my body and get the distance I need. And sorry, I just need to get the straw out of my shoes. So anyways, after the that last set of pictures and video where after coming out of the wooded area where I saw the deer, I crossed what ended up being Springer Road, I believe it was, and I came upon Sharon Creek Reservoir and Conservation Area. It does have a trail system by the looks of it, and has a parking area, but this trail bypasses that completely. So again, mainly because I'm looking at a little pressed for time in terms of daylight, and although I was a little disappointed that the trail didn't actually go through that area, so I think at some point I'll have to take a day trip and come on down and check it out. But after Sharon Creek Conservation Area and Reservoir, just a very short walk down the road. I think it was Springer still, crossed over Heatley, and as you can see, I'm now following the edge of another farmer's field. Now, according to the map, this should basically go straight and then veer to the right and pick up the Thames River again. And as you can hear in the background, that's the 402 highway. So the trail should go under the 402, and shortly thereafter I should be in Delaware. So don't think there's going to be a lot to show except for the river once I get to it. But I'll do another video snippet before I call it a day, and we'll check in a little bit later. Alright guys, so after going through the farmer's field, I come across this river down below. Now this is not the Thames, way too small. Really nice. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our CBO Paul and say that is probably not to code. Right, Paul? So I'm not quite at the 402 yet, but definitely on the right path to get there. And unfortunately, that last shot of the setting sun, I took that right in my eye, so now I'm also seeing spots of blue. In case you're wondering about taking water from the Thames, I don't know how safe it would be, regardless of whether or not you filter it. And the only reason I'm saying that is when I was living in London, there's like some of the parks downtown where the Thames goes right by. You can see a lot of ducks and geese in the water, so you can count on a lot of feces in the water. Now, that little stream that I was following to get here, that was a lot cleaner. So, now to give you an idea, now I have seen on Facebook in a few of the hiking groups questions about how much water to carry or how much to consume, and the only right answer to that is it depends. So I can only give you the example of me where, you know, I've been hiking today for well, let's see, about 5 hours or so, and I've just gone through my first liter of water. But I also tend to consume quite a bit of water myself. So, obviously in summer months, when it's obviously hotter, I was hiking the Bruce Trail, which is a lot more strenuous than this. I was consuming a lot more water, in the vicinity of, 3 to 6 liters easily in a day. So right now, the water that I brought from home, I don't have to worry about taking water from anything. But if I use the Thames and the little feeder streams as an example, I would probably suggest taking water from the streams than the Thames, just from the standpoint that it would probably be a little cleaner. Now that said, because of the rain last night, some of the bigger streams like earlier today were quite murky and muddy, so it might clog your filter. But the one that I just finished following to get to the Thames again here, that was quite clean, and I would have no problem taking water from that. Filtering, of course, still, but nonetheless, probably a better option. But tomorrow, I'll be starting my day in Delaware, and I'll be hiking right through the city of London. So there really shouldn't be an issue about water, just for the simple fact that the trail goes right through downtown, and worst case scenario, you can leave the trail, go into the business area, hit a convenience store, or like my plan tomorrow, is I'm going to get a huge slice of pizza from Stobie's, because that was one of my favorites when I was living in town. Not that this is a plug for Stobie's Pizza, but if you haven't had it, you definitely should. So yeah, I guess I'm plugging it. Tomorrow I'm definitely going to take my time more and enjoy the hike. So despite the setting sun, it's still about 10 degrees right now. A little cooler than when I first started out, but still quite manageable. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below. And of course, if you like these videos and like what you see, like and subscribe. And if you have any other trail suggestions that you think would make a good video for others to enjoy, leave those in the comment section below as well. All right, guys, take care.